people. If it's more, we really feel very comfortable with the CORFAC folks, and it's all people, whether this network, that network. It's the people that I identify with, and they're quite like-minded. So we're an integrated real estate company in the center of Canada, Winnipeg. We're 500 miles north of Minneapolis. When we had direct flights to Chicago, it was just a couple of hour flight. Now we don't. We were largely a retail firm at our founding. I founded the firm. My brother joined me shortly thereafter. We have about 45 people here. And somebody asked me how many people work for me. I said about half. And that's, that's like everybody, I suppose. We've never had a better crew than we have now in the last few years. We have a really well-seasoned group. We develop a lot of retail for Walmart, for grocery stores, a lot of restaurants and QSRs. We tenant rep Dollarama, which is Canada's #1 dollar store discount chain. We're working with Costco, although we don't represent them. And we're building multifamily and an industrial park, 2 industrial parks, actually 3 industrial parks and multifamily. We call it luxury because in Winnipeg, anything that's new and concrete is luxury. But we are amenity rich in what we're building. We have an investment sales business and a tenant mandate business, and we work well together, and we love to share ideas. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of outbound listings, outbound referrals, because people here are pretty isolated. I mean, the closest city is a 9-hour drive away, which is Minneapolis. And with the border closed for 2.5 years, I guess the closest city would have been a 15-hour drive, and that's Calgary.
How many inhabitants have Winnipeg?
About 800,000, a little over 800,000. And the population's about 1.3 million in the province.
Okay.
But it's mostly Winnipeg. The next largest city is about 45,000 people, and we're involved in all the cities in Manitoba. We have a lot of retail presence and office presence as well. But we operate in a one office partnership in Tucson with a group, and a partnership in Ontario, not in brokerage, but in multifamily in Toronto, but more Ottawa, Hamilton, and Montreal, where we build concrete high-rise mixed use. And we're a minority partner in that business, but somewhat active.
Right, that's great. So you have a lot of business, as I can see, Sandy.
Yeah, I'm 65.
You're retail, you have industrial parks.
We have about 8 million feet under administration.
Okay.
Are you guys metric there?
Yeah, we use metric, but also, I mean, square feet.
Okay.
You use metric as well, right?
Everyone else does but me and Ray and Tony.
Well, you're next to US, so.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting statistic. I think 90% of Canadians live within an hour of the US border.
How many, sorry?
About 90%.
Oh, okay.
So only Edmonton and Calgary in Alberta are the 2 cities of any size that aren't within an hour of the US border.
Okay, then you have also Montreal, which is near Chicago, no?
No, Montreal's near upstate New York.
New York.
Yeah. Toronto is close to Buffalo, Niagara Falls and all of that. Winnipeg is close to North Dakota. Saskatchewan is near, what is it? What's next to it? Montana? I know North Dakota as well. Montana is close to BC, and our BC is very close to Seattle, etc.
I remember I went once to Canada to visit a client from Toronto, actually. And we create a build to suit. It was only 50,000 square feet here in San Luis Potosí. We visit them, and then we went to Montreal to see the Formula One.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we had some guys there for that.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Are you interested in cars and racing?
Well, actually, I like it. I mean, I don't race, but I like it. I went to the Formula One in Mexico this year.
Yeah.
To support Checo.
Well, I know that
Mexican driver.
what's the famous American, Lewis Hamilton?
Hamilton?
Yeah, he was having breakfast right
British.
beside me. They had the announcement in Las Vegas. I was there for the SEMA show, which I'd never been to before. And it's very interesting to go to a conference where you don't have any meetings. It's not an ICSC. It's not a, where you've got a meeting here and there. So it was just visual overload. I was at the SEMA show.
And you like the Formula One, or?
I'm just starting to follow it a little bit because the guys here do.
Okay.
I was a drag racer 50 years ago.
And what kind of formula did you used to drive?
No, I dragged
it was formula or
Hemi Mopar Plymouths 426 Hemi 2.4-barrel Plymouths.
We don't have that kind of race in Mexico, but
no, it was quarter mile racing. It was quarter mile racing. I don't even think it is quarter mile. They changed the dimensions of it. So I'm far away from that now. But I still have a lot of cars. I have about 9 or 10 old cars. 61 Chrysler 300G, a 55 Nomad, 57 Chevy pickup, 41 Mercury that was in Karate Kid, a 50 Monarch, a 75 Corvette, probably a bunch of others. I don't know.
You have a big collection there.
Yeah.
Sandy, should I ask if your racing days were on a track or just sort of like at midnight on the street where you thought it was safe?
About 50% on the street of the highway in Portage la Prairie, where I'm from, and 50% on one drag strip track in Manitoba. But that's a long time ago, 1973.
That's great. What I do have is a very good friend of mine that used to race in IndyCar.
Oh,
for the sponsor was Corona.
Oh,
yeah. And he will travel around the world, because at that time the races took place in the U.S. but also outside of the U.S.
Yeah.
Huh?
Very interesting.
He's from San Luis, from Mexico. Rodolfo Lavin, it's the name.
Oh.
Probably you've heard about him, probably not.
Yes, familiar to me. I had a stroke about 3 years ago, so I forget some facts, but
this was about probably 20 years ago. So
yeah, well, that's why I remember it. If it was 20 minutes ago, I might have a trouble, but 20 years ago, I'm okay.
I just get a message from Tony. Let me just check what came in here.
Did he get pulled over for a DUI?
You have Jonathan email me a link to can't get back in.
Okay.
Can you send that to Tony right now?
Yep, you betcha.
There we go.
So Sandy, Sandy and I are pretty, are within a year in age, but Sandy was the instructor at one of the first CCIM courses I took back in 1980 or 82, I think it was.
Yes.
And he was already a seasoned pro.
I was old
So he has
before
a
my
lot.
time. Old before my time.
1982, 1982, you mentioned?
Yes.
Long time ago.
Yeah, Sandy was actually also instrumental in building CCIM, which Jonathan was
Executive.
actively running in past years before we were able to scoop him for CORFAC. So well connected people. Tony will be on here shortly. So I have much less exciting history in Toronto, but have been in the real estate business for a while. My grandfather actually started the first purely industrial real estate brokerage company in Toronto back in 1926. Do a lot of tenant work, but balanced with some listing work, primarily originally in industrial, a lot of design build industrial work over the years. Because land values have escalated in Toronto dramatically, the economics for industrial land, a portion of it became office, and also ended up over time doing a component of office work as well. But purely on the brokerage side, not doing any personal development and the development side, but certainly have done a lot of work with transportation companies that are busy with auto parts, particularly back and forth to Mexico. So we'll watch for an opportunity certainly to do some business, and have done work with a number of auto parts companies in the past, although I think they all have a facility in Mexico now and are doing more in Mexico than here. Hey, Tony, welcome.
I was in the first part. Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah.
I'm recording, so I'll send it to you.
Tony,
Just on the recording front, I'm typically not on recording, but perhaps we can have an in-camera session after this official session that's unrecorded. I do have some advice on an issue I wouldn't mind getting.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Esteban, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Tony. Please.
Here's my quick Mexican history story. So in Vancouver, we're getting famous for food trucks, these food carts at like neighborhood parties and outdoor events. And near our office, I was at this one session, and there were 4 Mexican food styled food trucks. Now they're
like
stainless,
tacos.
yeah, all this stuff, and their families, they would have come here at some point in the last 5 and 10 years. And so I can sort of ham it up. So I go over and meet one of the groups, and the lady is serving at the front, and they're all these stainless steel, very fancy. Of course, we saw them they're all over the US as well. Anyway, I always ask, I go, hey, are you or your parents from Mexico? Whoa. Then they look at me, and they're all worried, and I go, we need more people from Mexico in Vancouver. We need more good food here. So anyway, we don't really, I don't know if with Ray and Sandy feel about it, we don't have the kind of north-south activity as same as east-west to Europe and Canada, and then obviously to Canada through Vancouver to Asia. But there is a bit of a growing, I guess, what would you call it, southern sort of hemisphere activity in Vancouver now. It's just, honestly, it's just tiny steps, but the people are wonderful. And I think a lot of it was through cruising and going up to Alaska and whatnot. So we still have to travel to your region to get the food the way we want it, but there's some pockets.
Great. We will be honored if you come to Mexico, and I'll take you to get some tacos, real Mexican tacos.
When I'm at the food court next, I'll send you a shot.
Yeah, please do so.
Anyway, here in Vancouver, we're McDonald Commercial. We're part of McDonald Realty. In totality, the McDonald Real Estate Group. McDonald Realty Residential has been around for 75 years. There's about 1,000 agents in the province of British Columbia, principally in what's now called Metro Vancouver. And it's a region of a number of municipalities that used to be called Greater Vancouver, just Metro Vancouver now. And McDonald Commercial specializes as a distinct operating entity, but still a part of McDonald Realty Group. We have about 45, 46 commercial brokers. We do much of what Ray and Sandy do on the services side, which is working for clients to buy, sell commercial income properties, as well as land assembly work. And so we know all the local developers in town. And in our sort of the downtown Vancouver brokerage community, we're number 6 or 7 in terms of broker count. So we're in the top 10, and we're the largest non-national firm in the marketplace. We have a big property management arm with about $7 billion of assets under property management. And that works well with our brokerage activity, because we do a lot of leasing for our property management clients, and it's a good information exchange. So we're heading into a market now as rates have moved up. That's definitely slower, yet there's still deals going on in various sectors. But like anything, we just have to determine sellers that perhaps need to sell, want to move on, and buyers, there's still a ton of equity. And I would just say advice to our broker team is to, look for the positive lighting, because anyone that bought in Vancouver 20, 15, 10, 5 years ago is still going to sell today, even if values are compressed a little, with a huge gain. If it's 10 years, it's going to be double or more. And just one final comment. We have in Vancouver proper, we have a east-west street called Broadway. It essentially cuts the municipality in half. And Broadway, I won't get into the other cities in Canada, but it's a little ways away from the downtown core. But again, if you want to get from the water on the west side where the university is over to the eastern municipalities, you cut through on Broadway. And there's something called the Broadway Plan, which has created just a ton more density. And I'm in transit right now. I should have taken you to Broadway. I could show you a photo on my phone. But and so what I'm getting at is there's so many redevelopment opportunities that, notwithstanding this little bit of pause in the market, there's still a lot going on to assemble sites, to buy properties. There's some valuation lift. And so sellers, long-term sellers that can't assemble their own property are selling out. So we're working pretty much at street level to try to assemble properties on this Broadway corridor.
Tony's done a phenomenal job with his sales meetings he does for his office, and getting his guest speakers, the leading developers and top investment folks that have properties not only in Vancouver, but right across Canada, and in many cases in the US as well. He's got some very good connections in that regard.
Thanks, Rain. It was sort of our lifeline during the pandemic. And we've now had 3 in-person sort of in-person Zoom calls now. So, might be 25 in the boardroom and another 15 or 20 online. And we've been able to broaden, because we also, when I say we've been able to broaden people that attend. So we have another group, Platinum Project Marketing or Platinum McDonald Marketing, which essentially is selling condominiums before they're built. And that's in Vancouver, we call that project marketing work. And so that group attends our meetings. Frequently we'll have a bunch of guests that attend just to see the keynote speaker. And it's really been I have to say, a real building effort. And we invite our Canadian colleagues and a few that I know well through CORFAC to attend. And Jonathan has been there and others. So yeah, lots of value add. We had the finance people in last week from Impact Financial, and they're talking about in Canada, when you guys went up 75 in the US, 75 basis points last week or the week before, or no, you might have gone up 100 base. Let's see now. Did you go up 100 or 75?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went up 50. I'm sure it impacted our dollar, but people say that rates will climb up a little bit more, and then the way the bond pricing is working, it looks like they might fall off next year sooner than we think. Who knows? But it was I'll send out the notes from the session. I think you'll all find it interesting. And and really the mortgage broker people, they talked about the bond, the spread, because the way our money's priced up here for a lot of deals, you've got the Government of Canada bond yield, which used to be whatever 1%, is now 3 or 3.5%, and the lenders price at between 200 and conventional lenders 200 and 300 basis points over the bond yield. So mortgage costs are, I think Sandy said, between 5 and 6%. And
I've got a buyer trying to finance right now, and the TD Bank's quoting him 6.5%. And he's a good borrower.
High leverage?
He's not putting in the highest amount of equity between the vendor take back and the TD lending.
No, Ray, it's interesting. What I would say sort of generally in the marketplace, like our group, because we've all, you can see the call, we've been around for a while, and we all started in whatever, late 70s, early 80s. And in those days, there wasn't nearly the same, maybe in Toronto, but it was often perhaps residential realtors that got into commercial. There was a small commercial sort of effort, but all of us were, would you say, jack of all trades and masters of none? Probably in our own minds, jack of all trades and masters of all. But the benefit of that was we were all exposed to various parts of the business, from doing deals to helping client get the financing, and then when the tax assessment went up, heading over to the hearing to try to lower the taxes. And that was a great training ground. Whereas today there's, and actually arranging financing, no one had finance mortgage broker licenses. So now with all the specialization, it's, I guess, a good thing in one way, but in another way, brokers can be more compartmentalized and not have the same feel for issues, for example, in lending, where yes, rates are going up. That's only one part of it. What are the spreads the lenders are looking at, and how much money do they have to place by the end of the year? Like things that we know just intuitively is less known even within the brokerage community of folks that are in the business even up to 20 years, 15 years. I mean, they kind of know it, but
yeah, if they haven't done their allocation, they could be pretty aggressive in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Sandy, this is a industrial transport facility, and I'm waiting to see what Royal Bank comes in with, but you would have expected a lower
Yes.
rate.
Yes.
What
It's a user
Brian?
property? Is it a user property?
Yes.
I would check CMLS 2. And First National, Adam Polowadiak or whatever his name is. And ask him if he can be aggressive on it. It's a good property. You'd have to sell it to him as you're asking him. But and Desjardins has been very aggressive in Ontario.
They've been
You haven't done anything with
focused
them?
on dealing with their own banker and talking to a couple of the other major banks with the appeal of the other banks are trying to take all their whole block of business because it's a good
Right.
sized up business.
And you can tell anybody that this is the way into their whole business. Also, Credit Union 1 or whatever you call it. They did a loan for us on a property we've since sold in Thunder Bay, I think it was. Yeah.
So, Esteban, do you want to talk a little bit about Bluestone? Tell Sandy, Ray, and Tony what you guys are up to, and
Yes,
yours.
definitely. Actually, well, I did a small presentation to present Mexico. I know that everyone knows what is happening in Mexico, but I would like, to talk a little bit about the market. No, regarding Bluestone, well, it's a firm. Probably, well, I think Ray already knows. It's a firm that I founded 5 years ago. I used to work as a commercial director at World Trade Center Industrial Park, which is an industrial park in San Luis Potosí, in the Bajío region. It has, talking square in hectares, it's 700 hectares, and WTC2 with 1,400 hectares. I don't know if you're aware with hectares, if you manage hectares. And well, I created the first foreign recinto fiscalizado estratégico, which is like a free trade zone in English, or foreign trade zone in the US. It was the first one in Mexico. We created the largest intermodal terminal that at the end of 15 years acquired KCSM. And then, well, I found Bluestone with the intention of bringing foreign direct investment, doing the same that I did in the industrial park, but by myself. No, it's a company, a small company of we have 5 brokers spread in the Bajío region, and well, also we create an industrial park. It's a small park against World Trade Center. Of course, it's only 70 hectares, and the intention is to sell land here or make build-to-suit projects. It is not only from Bluestone. Bluestone is partnership with 4 other partners, and the name is World Port Industrial Park. That's about Bluestone. We concentrate in industrial real estate, not offices. We do manage offices, but our strong area is in the industrial. We have very good connections regarding construction companies, developers. We are inside the real estate industry in Mexico. We are very well connected. I would like to present a small, a general overview of Mexican market. If you let me,
Yes,
real quick, I did a small presentation.
please. Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay.
And guys, I'm listening. I'm just in transit. I'm listening.
Drive
Thanks.
carefully, Tony.
Yeah.
Try something new.
Just give me one sec. I don't know what is happening.
It's gone up to -10 Celsius here,
oh,
so I won't
time
be
to
wearing a
take-
shirt the rest of the
I
afternoon.
was gonna say, time to take your shirt off.
Yeah, I'll get it off. But it's snowing pretty hard.
Yeah, we got a dusting yesterday. And Esteban was part of the European call yesterday, so he got a taste of that group. And I think everybody showed up to that, Ray. I was pleasantly surprised. I think there was representation from every European firm on that call.
Well, that's
Yeah,
great.
that was great.
And I copied you guys, Sandy and Tony, in addition to Ray and Esteban, with the recording and the presentation that was made on the new office in Dubai. So there
Yeah,
we
that's
go.
exciting. Ah, perfect.
Finally.
We have it.
Okay. Now you can see it, right?
Perfect.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Well, I will start. Well, Bluestone is, our goal is to be the most complete soft landing in Mexico for national and international companies, and to be 50% faster in the internationalization of the companies. Talking about Mexico, I know that everyone knows where it's located, what is happening, but anyhow, I would like to talk that it's an ideal location for business, a market with great potential and human capital, solid and open economy. We have a commercial strength, 12 free trade agreements with 46 different countries. And we, of course, have a competitive business environment. Mexico is the 11th country most populated. We have 126 million inhabitants. We are the 9th most attractive country for foreign direct investment, and is the first in Latin America. The 11th world most exporter country. We have, again, 12 trade agreements with 46 countries, as I mentioned before. We are the 15th biggest economy in the world, and we're placed 48 in competitiveness among 141 countries. Regarding our location, we have two USMCA corridors. We have the highway USMCA corridor, we used to call NAFTA corridor, and we have the railroad USMCA. This USMCA railroad is owned by Kansas City Southern, and of course, Ray may know that it reaches actually Winnipeg, no? Because comes from Lázaro Cárdenas, which is the port in the Pacific, and goes all the way up in the north, reaching the east coast, the east part of the US, and then goes to Winnipeg. Once you know that once you cross the border, it is very, very easy to catch another company like Canadian National, Union Pacific, or whatever. Talking about airports and seaports, we have 77 airports, 13 national and 64 international, 114 seaports, 58 in the Pacific, and 59 in the Gulf Coast. The Gulf Coast, the most important ports are Veracruz and Altamira. Altamira is only 400 kilometers to the Bajío region. And in the Pacific, Manzanillo and Lázaro Cárdenas are the most important, these two. Now, we always, there's a lot of automotive investment taking place in Mexico. So we always mention where are the automotive OEMs located. Of course, we can send this presentation if you want. Now, regarding the industrial real estate market for the third quarter of 2022, I would like to talk about what is happening in Mexico. I talk about all the benefits, what is Mexico, but what is taking place right now, it's the nearshoring. Probably you may heard about it, and these facts are. We have three important points why is taking place this nearshoring. The first point is for the USMCA. you may know that we use to be part of the USMCA. You must complete 62% of the raw material, of the components, to be part of the USMCA and send it to US or to Canada. Nowadays, the composition has to be 75% to be part of this USMCA. So with this fact, a lot of companies have to move from Europe or from Asia or even the United States to come to the region, to USMCA, and of course, one of the most competitive point in Mexico, it's the labor cost. Another important point for the nearshoring was the logistic cost. In Mexico, to send or to bring a container from Asia, the cost was around $2,000. With the pandemic and after the pandemic, it reaches $12,000 to bring a 20 or 40 foot container. And the third point, not less important, is the commercial war between USA and China. With these 3 points, I believe that Mexico is living the famous Mexican moment, because nowadays there are a lot of companies looking forward in establishing in Mexico, bring raw material from local providers in Mexico, and then send it to the USA, to the US market. Now, in Mexico, we have 13 principal markets, industrial markets. We have the Northwest, which are the cities of Tijuana. San Diego would be the city, the neighbor city. Then we have Juárez, Ciudad Juárez, which is El Paso, Texas. Then we have Monterrey and Reynosa, which is McAllen and Laredo, Texas as well. No? This would be the northeast market. The Bajío region is where in the year 2010, 2015, took place a lot of automotive investments. We have Japanese, we have BMW, we have Audi, we have Mazda, Toyota investments, OEMs in this region. Then we have Bajío, and then we have the west part, which is Guadalajara and Aguascalientes. Aguascalientes, some of us mentioned that is the Bajío because it's just it's very near this area. I would like to talk a little bit about the inventory and the vacancy rate in Mexico. No, as Bluestone being part of, concentrating in industrial real estate, I think this is very important just for you to know what is happening. The vacancy rate has reached historical lows, demand over 2.1 million square meters, 11% higher than third quarter of 2021. The industrial inventory in the country grew up 1.2 million square meters, reaching a growth of around 2% each quarter. And you can see here the industrial inventory and vacancy rates. These are some of the most important markets, as I mentioned before. We have in the north Monterrey, which is bordered with Laredo. In the east, in the east part, northeast. Then we have Mexico City, of course, Tijuana, which is northwest. It's neighboring California, state of California. Saltillo we have here more vacancy rate because it's near Monterrey. It's about an hour. It is a market that is definitely going to grow because now Monterrey, there's a lot of investments. Now companies are looking forward in being more at the south border. Then we have Ciudad Juárez and some other important cities. No? Guadalajara is an important market as well. This is the total industrial lease for the third quarter in square meters. Sorry. You can see that Monterrey is the most nowadays important market, as well as Mexico City. You know? Then we have in the Bajío region Querétaro with a lot of growth as well, and Ciudad Juárez. Ciudad Juárez. What happened in Ciudad Juárez is that we didn't have a lot of inventory there. So what is happening now is that there's a lot of build-to-suit projects. Once a client sees some earthworks taking place, then it starts, to asking for a proposal, and some of them there's a new word here in Mexico that we called we know the word spec building, no? But nowadays it's like a build. How do you say spec build to suit? No? It is a spec building that is going to take place, but it is not even in earthwork and it's already leased. So from a spec building jumps to a build to suit project. The leases price for third quarter in 2022 grew 8%. The markets that increased most were the areas in the north, in the northeast and west. Monterrey, for instance, 30%, Juárez 29%, Tijuana, which is northwest, 26%, and Reynosa 23%, which is northeast. This is regarding the vacancy historical lows. Now the list prices for third quarter for 2022. We have a comparison here with 3 different years: 2020, 2021, and 2022, and you can see the growth of such prices. And this is because the vacancy rate has going down. We have you can see Ciudad Juárez, for instance, going from around $4 per square meter per month to $6 per square meter per month. That's around $50 per square feet per month. Then you have Tijuana as well with a lot of growth. And this is again because the vacancy rate has lowest historical lows. These are the different sectors for the industrial demand. We have 53% manufacturing companies, 19% are logistics, 17% automotive, and then we have different other industries like high tech, packaging, beverage, food and beverage, and pharmaceutical. Well, that's a quick view for the industrial market, for buildings, inventory buildings. And regarding Bluestone, well, I already talked a little bit about it, but well, we offer a site selection. We help companies finding the best location, whether if it's an industrial park, greenfields. We help them in finding Class A and B buildings, inventory buildings. We negotiate the best price and conditions for our clients, local, state, and federal incentives. We have a tenant representation, advisory on the site selection, as I mentioned before, purchase and lease negotiations, renewals, build-to-suit projects, lease analysis. And regarding, we also offer a landlord representation. We help the landlords to list the companies, providing appraisal services for the property, sales strategy, social networks. These are other services, like construction. We have joint ventures with the most important construction companies in Mexico. We also offer legal and fiscal support to the companies that are establishing in Mexico. We also do, we do not do logistics, but we have joint ventures with different logistic companies that can offer different services to the clients that are establishing in Mexico. Also, we're partnerships with Mexentrics, which is a company offering shelter. That is almost what I already talked about regarding fiscal and legal support. Also hiring labor force, and the idea is to be 50% to 75% faster operation. And last but not least, our office in Querétaro gives this kind of service, which is sales representation. So once it has happened that sometimes clients that we attend requires to have more customers in Mexico. So we do have very good connections with the automotive. That's only for automotive OEMs, tier 1s, tier 2s, and we also provide this service to the companies that are establishing here for one reason, providing one OEM or a tier 1 or a tier 2. So the idea is for them to grow in Mexico. And well, that's about the general overview for Mexico, Bluestone. I don't know if you have some questions. I'm sure that we can work together. Probably you have a client or you're thinking for an investor in Mexico, let me know and we can work together.
Thank you. Thank you. The food for thought. I'd like to have a client to send down there, and we have to just make it top of mind and think CORFAC first. Because we're on the other end of that railway. That railway is a mile from here. I cross those tracks.
Yes.
I cross those tracks every morning to get to work.
It's Center Point, or what's the name of the park there?
Centerport.
Centerport, right? Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I used to know the general director for Centerport.
Diane Gray.
I don't remember. It was a girl, right?
Yeah, Diane Gray.
Yeah. We had some meetings with the NASCO. I don't know if you've heard about NASCO, North American Corridor Coalition.
Oh yeah, the corridor. Yes.
Yeah. So there was
Jonathan.
Yeah, sorry.
There may be a kind of a neat press release opportunity relative to that corridor with Winnipeg in the north and our neighbor in Mexico, and and then tying in some quotes here and there. That's a pretty neat story. It kind of reminds me of some of the shipping consultant that we've had, stuff that we don't, we take for granted, that we get toothbrushes at the drugstore, but don't realize how it gets.
Tony, that's an excellent idea. And Jonathan, you can work with Melody here, because that ties Mexico to Canada and obviously the US on the way through, but talks about the importance of the corridor for industrial and manufacturing and distribution.
Yeah, I'll certainly share the recording of this call. And Esteban, if you can send me your presentation, that would be great.
Definitely, of course.
And I'll share it with everybody here, and I probably will share it with all international members.
Yes.
But I'll copy Patricia, who does a lot of our PR and marketing and branding.
Yeah.
And give her the idea of how to develop this into a short story.
And get some quotes on the barbells either end.
Yeah. Great idea, Tony.
Mhm, mhm.
Tony, you're not
We
just
have-
another pretty face.
We have,
I
you know, Sandy.
Oh, there's his face
Tony.
now. I just had to call for it.
I try.
We have very nice, a lot of lands next to the backbone of KCSM. So, for instance, if you have a company looking forward or that provides services, logistic services like break bulk or cross dock, probably it would be a good idea, no, to have an
Yeah,
operation
we want to
here.
share with all the
no?
industrial guys here.
Mhm.
I've got to jump off the call. I very much appreciate this. I'm going to leave you on in case I get back in here, but I'm just going to leave for a moment.
Okay.
And okay, and then Jonathan, maybe after the call, just give me a quick call on my cell.
Sure.
Yeah,
You just need me. You don't need the group.
No, it's okay, and all is well. I just want to pick your brain.
Sure.
That's good.
Um,
uh,
Ray, you got something?
no, just Esteban, that was great. Thanks. So sorry, where your office is located?
My office is
Where-
located in San Luis Potosí in the Bajío region.
Okay, down in Central, saw that on the map, right?
But we
Okay.
work. I mean, at the end of the day, the Mexican market is very small. We could say it's less. We could say it's much smaller, like Dallas, for instance, no, or Houston. It's very small. So we have very good relations with different developers in the Northeast, in the Northwest. I mean, all around Mexico. So it is easy for us to make business all around Mexico.
Excellent,
We don't concentrate only in the Bajío, but in the whole country.
perfect.
See you guys.
I'll call you in a minute, Tony.
No, that's
Well-
great. Thanks. I've got actually a mortgage lender I'm going to go meet with. I've got an appointment with, but this was terrific. Thank you.
No, thank you.